Warning! There are many uses of nitrous oxide, also known as laughing gas. Using it for recreational purposes is dangerous and is not the purpose of this tutorial. I decline all responsibility in case of accident or death. Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to show you how to make laughing gas, also known as nitrous oxide or nitrogen protoxide, from pea and these two household products. The first thing you want to do is to let the pea ferment for 2 weeks, so just put a cap but keep it loose so that there is no pressure buildup. Let us focus on the first household item that I mentioned. It is some stump remover from the Spectracide brand, which consists of nearly 100% potassium nitrate. Of course, you could easily buy it online as a chemical in its pure form, but then it wouldn't be a household item as the title of this tutorial claims. I don't want to lie, so here I'm explicitly using that stump remover. The second household item is some drain opener from the Liquid Lightning brand, which consists of 93% sulfuric acid. As an alternative, you can also use some battery electrolyte that you can find in any auto store, but again that wouldn't be considered as a household item, so here I am explicitly using the drain opener. Note that if you opt for the battery electrolyte, it will have a concentration of only 30%, but you can easily concentrate it up to 98% by boiling the water off. Another alternative is to make sulfuric acid from Epsom salt by following this tutorial. Once you have the potassium nitrate and the sulfuric acid, you can easily turn them into nitric acid. For this, you have two options. If you have a distillation apparatus, then follow this tutorial that I made with my friend Aspen Angel. But if you don't have a distillation apparatus, don't worry, it is not needed. You can still easily make nitric acid by following this tutorial that doesn't require any special equipment. The yield will simply be lower and the concentration of your nitric acid might be lower as well, but it is not a problem since we are going to dilute it anyway. Once you have your nitric acid, it is a good idea to store it into a bottle that is dark in order to protect it from the sunlight. This avoids it from decomposing into water, nitrogen dioxide, and oxygen. Also, you don't need to purchase a special bottle for it. You can obtain it for free from Simple A1 sauce. This bottle is ideal, and also the cap is made of a plastic that is capable of resisting to the acid for a very long time. Once you have your nitric acid, the first thing you need to do is to determine its concentration. The most precise way of doing it is by titration, but I want to keep this tutorial as simple as possible, so if you don't know about titration, here is how you can obtain an estimate that will be good enough for our purposes. In order to determine the concentration of our nitric acid, we start by measuring its mass density. For this, measure the mass M of a certain volume V of nitric acid. You should use a measuring cylinder for measuring the volume, or even better, a volumetric flask. If you use the scale of a beaker instead, you will have a poor precision that might lead to a very bad estimate. In my case, I measured the mass of 100 ml to be 148.5 gram, so this corresponds to a density of 1.485 grams per milliliter. You will probably obtain a different value, but if you use one of my methods for making the acid, you are very likely to obtain a mass density of at least 1.4 grams per milliliter. The next thing consists in determining the corresponding concentration. For this, start by measuring the temperature of your acid. Then look at this table that gives the density of the acid as a function of the temperature and the concentration. Take the column that is the closest to the temperature of your acid. In my case, it was 25 degrees Celsius. Then look in that column for the cell that has a value that is the closest to your measured density. In my case, the value is 1.485 grams per milliliter. And finally, read the value of the concentration in the corresponding row. In my case, this corresponds to a concentration of 95%. Now, if you followed any of my tutorials for making your acid, you should end up with a concentration of at least 68%. Once we know the concentration of our nitric acid, we want to dilute it by adding some distilled water to it. We want to end up with a concentration of only 10%. Let us see how to do it. I see many people doing wrong calculations when diluting acids. Their typical mistake is that they implicitly assume that acid molecules have the same mass as water molecules, which is completely wrong. So, let us do things properly. I'm going to call C the concentration of the initial acid, which in my case is 95% or 0.95. You should use the value that corresponds to your acid. Now, saying that the concentration of the acid is C literally means that the ratio of the mass of pure nitric acid molecules to the total mass of the acid is equal to C. But we want to end up with a new concentration C prime equals 10% equals 0.1 by adding pure water. So, let us call M prime H2O the mass of water that we need to add. This means that the ratio of the total mass of pure nitric acid to the original total mass plus the mass of added water must be equal to 10%, which is equal to 0.1. So, if we solve for the mass of water to add, we find that it is equal to 10 times the original mass of the acid times the concentration of the acid minus 0.1. In my case, where C equals 0.95, if I take 40 grams of acid, I need to add 340 grams of water to end up with 380 grams of 10% nitric acid. You can easily adapt this calculation for your case. Now you might be wondering what the P is for. The point is that 1 gallon of P typically generates 40 grams of ammonia when fermenting. That's the chemical compound that we want from it. It is volatile, so when we leave the bottle open, the ammonia escapes. It can be used in order to neutralize the nitric acid, which produces ammonium nitrate. The reaction is that 1 mole of ammonia reacts with 1 mole of nitric acid to produce 1 mole of ammonium nitrate. Given the molar masses of ammonia and nitric acid, we can calculate that there are about 42 grams of nitric acid molecules in 400 ml of 10% nitric acid, and that only 11.4 grams of ammonia is required to neutralize the acid. This means that 1 gallon of fermented P contains more than enough to do the job. So I have here the fermented P, here a bucket, and here my 10% nitric acid. I rounded the total amount to 400 mils. I don't know if we can see. 400 mils. Doesn't have to be precise. Okay. There will be enough ammonia in the P in order to neutralize this nitric acid. Now, if it turns out that there is not enough, well, there's nothing that prevents you from using a second bottle. But I think that one will be enough. All right. So first, let us check the pH. So, although it is only 10% nitric acid, it should still have a very low pH. So let's see. You put a drop. Yeah, you see how it's red. pH is about 1, okay, maybe 2. So what we're going to do is to put the bottle of pee inside the bucket, and we are going to put the nitric acid next to it. Here I have a lid, so now simply take the cap off, don't breathe, and put the lid on. There shouldn't be any pressure buildup, maybe a little bit, but not enough to cause an explosion, so you can seal it. You don't want to lose any ammonia. And what is going to happen is that the ammonia is going to escape from the pee bottle and react with the nitric acid. So tomorrow we will check the pH. Alright, so it has been a day. I'm sorry for the noise, my neighbor is doing some work. So let's see. Let me put the cap on this. Of course, it's very stinky. So let us see what we got here. I don't know if we can see on the camera, it kind of turned a little bit yellowish, which is okay. That might be due to a few impurities that have a tendency to turn ammonium nitrate a little bit yellow. So let's stir in order to make sure that it's homogeneous, and let's see. Yep. It's slightly basic, pH 8. So that means that there is an excess of ammonia, which is not a problem at all. If it was pure ammonium nitrate, it should be slightly acidic, maybe 6.5. So here it's 8, so there's an excess of ammonia, but that is not at all a problem. We are going to get rid of it, because now what we are going to do is that we are going to let the water evaporate, and we will be left with the salt, which is pure ammonium nitrate. So we have here our solution of ammonium nitrate, which also contains some ammonia. That is not a problem, because now what we want is to evaporate the water, and as it evaporates, it will go away with the ammonia that it contains, and we will end up with pure ammonium nitrate. Now we have to be careful. We don't want the water to boil, because we have to keep in mind that ammonium nitrate is highly explosive. So just heat up enough for the vapors to form, but we don't want this to boil. Also, as the water level is going to decrease, of course, the concentration in ammonium nitrate is going to increase, and at some point no more water will evaporate. So that means that we will end up with liquid ammonium nitrate. That's the point where it is extremely dangerous. We have to make sure that the temperature doesn't approach 200 degrees Celsius, otherwise it's going to blow up. So once no water evaporates anymore, then we should turn it off and let it cool off, and the remainder of the solution, well, it's no longer a solution, it will be pure ammonium nitrate. So that liquid ammonium nitrate is going to solidify as it cools off. So now we can see some vapors coming out. So the temperature is good. We should make sure that we don't overheat the solution. And, well, just wait. So it has been about 1 hour, so half of it is gone, and we can see that it's kind of getting slightly yellowish. That's a slight pollution, which is not a problem. Okay. All right. So at this point, it seems that there's no more water that is evaporating. So this might be just pure ammonium nitrate in the liquid form. If there is still some water, it's going to evaporate on its own, But let me turn this off because once again I don't want the temperature to approach 200 degrees Celsius, otherwise it's going to blow up. So now all we have to do is to wait for the thing to solidify. After letting the product cool off, this is what I ended up with. So this is our ammonium nitrate. It's very explosive, so be careful when you work with it, but at room temperature there's no danger. Now, in order to turn the ammonium nitrate into laughing gas, we simply need to heat it up. And that is the part that is extremely dangerous because it's really hard to control the temperature. As you start heating the ammonium nitrate, all of a sudden it starts generating its own heat, and we end up with what we call the runaway. The temperature will suddenly increase exponentially, and that leads to an explosion. So in order to be safe, you should heat only a tiny amount of ammonium nitrate so that you will survive even if there is an explosion. Of course, you should wear some eye protections when you do this, but with such a small amount of ammonium nitrate, everything should be fine. So simply put a balloon on the test tube in order to collect the laughing gas that is going to be generated. Alright, you may want to empty as much air as possible so that your laughing gas is not mixed up with too much air. Alright, like this. And then all we have to do is to heat this up gently. Okay. Alright, so this is what we are ending up with. This is our laughing gas. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, write a comment, and I would appreciate if you can share it on your social network. Thanks for watching.